The fear of failure is a very common thing preventing many people from starting their goals. It's 2025, the start of 2025, and a lot of people have some really awesome goals. But then some people think, oh no, like I won't be able to do this. Oh, I've tried this before, it never happened. And oh, I'm just, you know what? It's gonna be so hard. It's gonna be a big change. I don't know if I can do it. And then people overthink and they never get started. Why? Because a lot of people have this fear of failure. Maybe because they failed in the past or because it's difficult, it's a difficult change for them, and they don't know if they really want to do it. Right. So they kind of like self sabotage themselves by quitting before even starting, or they set like crazy goals that are like really difficult to achieve. And they just overthink, or they maybe they seek external validation through this, and I'm guilty for this 100%, definitely guilty, especially in the past. But now what I'm going to go over is four different strategies on how to overcome the fear of failure, because this is something that I've integrated into my life. And honestly, I don't think of failure as failure. It's just like either you're growing or you're learning. And when you don't hit your mark 100%, it's almost like you have a dartboard and you're shooting for the bullseye, but you don't hit the bullseye, but at least you hit the board, right? If you kind of have no goals, no aspirations, it's like you got this dart and you're shooting it at a wall and you have no target. But at least when you have a target to aim at, you can miss, but you could miss small and you could learn and you could keep improving until you're just like boom, 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 boom on the target each time. So there are four strategies on how to overcome the fear of failure. Number one is embrace imperfection. Basically, being okay with just like getting started, like this right here, this live that I'm doing right now. Like, I, I decided, I was like, you know what would be a good idea if I do a live every day? And it's been a month and a half. And I didn't have any plan. I just was like, you know what? There's a whole bunch of topics I want to talk about. So let's go ahead and do them. And literally, I think it was that night, I decided to do a live. And the next night, and the next night, and the next night. Why? Because I want to get this information out there, and because I want to improve my skills as a speaker, because I want to speak in front of thousands of people. And yeah, I'm speaking in front of potentially thousands of people right now online, but being in that surrounding, being in that environment, I know would get my heart pumping. So I took a very big leap of action right away. And that's what you need to do instead of overthinking things and thinking, oh, it needs to be perfect. No, it doesn't. Just take action, take massive action now. That's the way you do it. Of course, some planning is nice, right? But for this one, I was like, I want to do it live until I want to stop. So I'm gonna keep going. There wasn't really much planning they needed to have, but I do have a list of topics that I have. So every night I'm like, I want to choose this one. All right. So that's number one, was just embrace imperfection. Number two is set small, achievable goals. So have you ever heard of like Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, basically the different quarters of the year, right? So if you have this like one goal, like let's say gain 20,000 followers on Instagram, right? And just like whatever, that goal. And when you think about it, it's like, whoa, that's a lot of people. But then when you break it down per quarter, and then you break it down to what you need to do per day, then it makes it way more achievable. So, like, let's say, like, one thing you'd want to do per day is reach out to 10 different accounts, or post on, post 3 times a day, stuff like that. Or not three times a day is a lot for most people. Okay, let's just say post once a day, right? So you're creating these micro goals every day, almost like it creates like a habit for these quarterlies. That's just for your big all-time goal, which is the year goal. And then you can have the 5-year goal, 10-year goals. You can go on and on and on. But just set very small, achievable goals. And you can do this by just kind of keeping track on your own. Or there's like a habit tracker app that I use that every single night before I go to bed, it goes ding, ding, ding. I do all the habits that are going towards my goal. Super, super big hack. And number three is to rewrite your thoughts. This is something that I spoke about in the beginning, which is basically instead of saying like because you didn't hit your mark doesn't mean you failed. Because you didn't lose that 30 pounds that you wanted to lose doesn't mean you failed. Because you said you were going to be sober for 6 months and you drank doesn't mean you failed. Just look at that situation like, why did I take that drink? Right? And reframe that failure as a learning point so that you can fine tune and get make it more probable that you are going to hit your mark the next time. So it's just like you're like doing iterations. It's almost like you're like AI, right? It just takes a whole bunch of information and then it does iterations based off of the thing that you put it in, like the information that you put, right? Saying certain descriptors of what you want it to have. The same thing what happens in when you miss your mark, you're still learning. So every single thing is learning. Even when you hit your mark, you're learning. Every part of it, but it's a perspective. It's a perspective of okay, like I failed, or versus, you know what, I didn't hit my mark, but this is why, and this is what I'm going to do to improve. So rewire your thoughts instead of thinking of it as failure, thinking of it as learning. Number four is seek support. Basically, connecting with other people, let's say who might have done the things that you have already done, right? Who are already like a couple of steps ahead of you. Like let's say your goal is to get sober, and you know one person who's sober, and to ask out and reach out and be like, hey, listen, like I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z on my sober journey. Like, do you have any advice for me? Everybody would say, "Of course, yes, I will help you." Right? So when you kind of like seek support and seek advice from other people, it helps you it helps you set goals and that are going to set the right trajectory to what you want to achieve, right? Because it's from people who are already there, and it's from your friends, from your family, from your peers. You could have coaches, like whatever you feel like you need. Especially coaches are really great because they're like on you at all times, and they give you space to grow on your own. But then you're on you. You have like a program that they can follow, kind of like being a personal trainer, right? You come in like 2 or 3 times a week, and they train your ass as hard as they can. And then they give you workouts to do on your own. Very similar to a coach. And let's see, number five is to celebrate your micro wins. Now, the previously what I talked about with the habit tracker, like doing that thing where you press the button, it goes ding. That's kind of celebrating your wins. It's like celebrating your micro wins every single day. And when you don't do it, it's like, damn, like, oh, you feel it. It's almost like when you said you're going to go to the gym, but you don't. When you don't do your habit tracker, you're like, ah, man, well, like I said I was going to do it, and I didn't do it. And now, like, my score goes from 100% to 85, and then if I don't do it next day it goes down to 55%. So like, are you okay with showing up for yourself 50% of the time? Is that okay with you? And you have to really think about that. But on the flip side, it's like, you know what, I'm at a 98% score, I do this stuff every day, I'm so dedicated to it, right? There's the two sides of the spectrum, and all it is just effort. You say you're going to do it, celebrate your micro goals. And if you want to celebrate your micro goals with other people, like there's a addition to this habit tracker app, which is something I found. It's literally called Habit Tracker, and you could add your friends on it. So let's say your friends want to do the same exact thing, um, with the same goal. Then you could add them for that habit, and then you guys can celebrate each other. So this is also where coaches and peers come into play, because celebrating your goals is so awesome, but it's even better when you have other people to celebrate it with you. So the last thing is to don't quit, just pivot, which basically means you're going one way, you have a trajectory you're going, but let's say it doesn't work, just pivot. Just basically change the the route of how you're going to get to your end point, because you may not be doing the right workout. You might not be doing the right diet. Like, just make sure that you have room to be able to change and pivot that plan if you feel like you're not getting the progress that you want to get. So think about one thing you've been kind of like procrastinating on because you feel like you're scared of failing. You don't even want to start because you're so nervous and you don't know what to do. Just think of one thing in your life right now that's coming up for you, and then think of one way that you can take that one step to make a difference on that goal you have for yourself. And maybe write that down or even put it on the checklist of your notes in your phone. Because when you press that check mark, once you say, just go show up at the gym and work out for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. Once you press that check, you're like, yeah, I did it. It's almost like a to-do list, which is exactly how the habit tracker works as well. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and put them down below. And if you'd like to learn a very detailed way on how to integrate these steps into your life and build confidence, send me a DM, grow, and I will reach back out to you. Thank you so much for being here. Have a beautiful night. I'll see you guys tomorrow.